Use my code PAY10 to get 10% off your next order of Advanced GG. This is the best Solar Warlock build in Destiny 2's Edge of Fate. We're going to be taking advantage of exotics that just got buffed, exotics that heal you, as well as abilities that do tons of damage, and how to buff that damage even further. As always, there will be a dim link down in the description, and do not forget to go follow me over on Twitch for the live streams. Now let's get into it.
Yo, it's time to subscribe to Paid to Be Famous. What are you doing?
Subscribe to Pay to Be Famous.
Subscribe to Paid to Be Famous. Like the video, come on.
Hell
you know
yeah.
the drill.
Button.
And slap that like button.
So to start things off in this build, we're going to be using the Starfire Protocol chest armor. Comes with the exotic perk Fusion Harness. Fusion grenades have an additional charge and recharge from empowered weapon damage, with empowered weapon final blows granting more energy. Defeating targets with fusion grenades grant rift energy. So if you happen to defeat an enemy with your grenade, you literally get all of your class ability energy back, which is really nice. It enables you to just keep popping your empowering rift. But this actually got buffed, and you don't have to actually use your empowering rift anymore, which was one of the biggest downsides to this, because every time you popped your empowering rift, you would have to sit in your empowering rift, and that doesn't give you any health. It made you a very easy target, because if you wanted your grenade energy back, you had to be in that rift. But if we take a look at the patch notes that dropped when the Edge of Fate came out, they changed the Starfire Protocol, and now it also activates on radiant damage. They increased the on damage gain to 5%. It was at only 2.5%, and they reduced the on kill gain to 15% from 20%. So essentially what this means is you don't have to be locked down to just standing in your powering rift. As long as you can become radiant, you'll be able to get that grenade energy back. And with the artifact mods and the fragments, we will very easily be able to become radiant all of the time. So we're going to be on the Dawnblade Warlock subclass. We're going to be taking the Song of Flame. So every time we pop this super, they will make our equipped weapons radiant. And then since we don't have to be tied down to the empowering rift, we're going to be taking the Phoenix Dive. For the glide, take whatever you want. For the melee, we got Incinerator Snap. It's going to help us scorch targets, and with enough scorch, we'll be able to stun unstoppable champions. And because we're using the Starfire Protocol, of course, we are taking the Fusion Grenade, and the Fusion Grenade also accumulates more scorch stacks. For the aspects, we are taking Touch of Flame. This is going to give our Fusion Grenade enhanced functionality, which essentially just means that it's going to explode twice. And we're also taking the Hellion Solar aspect. Activate your class ability to summon a Solar Mortar, and targets damaged by the mortar are going to be scorched. For the first fragment, we are taking Ember of Char. Our solar ignitions are going to spread scorch to affected targets. I'm mainly taking this because of the plus 10 to the stats that it gives our grenade, because we are going to need to max out our grenade for the most benefit. We also have Ember of Searing. Defeating scorched targets grants melee energy and creates a fire sprite. And whenever we pick up a fire sprite, it's going to grant grenade energy. So if we take a look at our trusty D2 compendium over here, it states that fire sprites are going to grant 12.5% grenade ability energy, and they are going to stay on the ground for 25 seconds. And there also is a 5-second cooldown in between when you can make another fire sprite. And with this build, we're going to be scorching everything, so we're going to get quite a few fire sprites out on the battlefield. Then we have Ember of Resolve. Solar Grenade final blows cure you, and since we'll be able to spam a lot of grenades, and these grenades are going to be doing a ton of damage, we're going to get a lot of final blows. And Cure is going to give us 60 HP per stack of Cure, which is really going to help keep us alive, especially in those endgame activities. And then we have Ember of Empyrean. Solar weapon or ability final blows extend the duration of Restoration and Radiant. So we're going to be gaining Restoration with our Phoenix Dive, but how are we going to consistently make ourselves radiant? Well, that is where the artifact comes into play. We have this artifact perk called Fever and Chill. Rapid precision hits with a solar weapon grant Radiant. And also, rapid precision hits with stasis weapons grant frost armor. Not too concerned with the stasis part, but if you have a stasis weapon, that's just an extra perk there for you. So I've got a solar weapon on, and if you look at this, you just go 1, 2, 3, and then boom, we get a radiant for 10 seconds. And since we have a solar weapon on, every time we get a final blow, it will extend the duration of radiant. So we throw our grenade, get a couple kills, and look at the grenade energy go back up. Keep getting hits on them. and we keep getting grenade energy. And we already have back both of our grenade charges. You're also going to want to run Elemental Coalescence. Defeating targets has the chance to create an elemental pickup matching your equipped super. So right there, we created an element. So if we go ahead, get rid of our melee right here, when we pick it up, it's going to give us some melee energy. And then you're also going to want Elemental Benevolence. Granting allies an elemental buff gives you class ability energy. And with the weapon that we're using, we'll be able to cure allies. So if you take a look at the D2 Compendium, it states that upon bestowing an elemental buff to allies, it grants 15% class ability energy. And as you can see, our Phoenix dive to the ground and create a solar burst of solar light that cures nearby allies. And then you are absolutely going to want to take a Radiant Shrapnel. Dealing sustained weapon damage while radiant or defeating a scorched combatant with a weapon causes the target to release a solar projectile that deals damage and scorch on impact. And according to D2 Compendium, upon dealing any weapon damage against a combatant while radiant or upon killing a scorched combatant with a weapon, target releases 1 solar shrapnel that deals 54 impact damage and up to 289 explosive damage, inflicting times 20 scorch. And it does have a 1-second cooldown between shrapnel spawns. And you should also take Elemental Overdrive. Picking up an elemental pickup grants increased damage to weapons of the same element, aka your solar weapons. And it states right here, if we pick up a fire sprite, we get a plus 10% increased damage for 7 seconds. Which brings us to the exotic weapon we're using. We got the Red Death Reformed. Comes with inverse relationship. When you deal damage with this weapon, it gains increased handling, takes reduced flinch, and movement speed is increased for a short time. When you're at reduced health, this weapon deals additional damage. The exotic perk Redemption. Final blows with this weapon cure you and increase reload speed. Reloading after a final blows cures nearby allies. So this is just a really good way to help keep you alive. For the armor mods, I'm basically using a bunch of the font mods to push my stats to the limits. On the helmet, you're definitely going to want a solar siphon to create orbs. I'm also using a super font. On the gloves, I got 3 grenade fonts, which is very important and you're going to need it. We take a look at the D2 Compendium, the grenade font. 1 grenade font is a plus 20 to your grenade, 2 of them is a plus 40, and 3 of them is a plus 50 to your grenade stat. On the chest piece, I'm running some health fonts. On the legs, triple weapon fonts. On the class item, we've got a Reaper mod, so we create an orb after we pop our class ability and get a weapon kill, a class font, an outreach mod. Now, I'm going to show you guys why it's so important to be running the highest grenade stat that you can. So at base, I'm going to throw a fusion grenade at this unstoppable. Does 570 and then 270 on the second explosion. But now I'm going to pick up an orb to activate the grenade font. Got that armor charge. Now the grenade does 360 and 338. Got a barrier champ over here. Fusion grenade him. 958 and 877. Pick up this orb to activate the grenade fonts. And as you can see, it does significantly more damage. So Guardians, that is going to do it for the build. If you guys found this helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you guys are new around here. There is a dim link down below if you guys want to check this build out, and I'll catch you guys around the channel.